All right, guys, come on in, come on in. We're going to get started in just a moment. So today is Thursday. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas. I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. So I have a very special guest. It's Chelsea Carpenter from Cabarrus County. 4 C's, baby.
That's right. I never realized that. Wow. Thank you for that.
That's
I love it.
absolutely, it's not a triple threat. It's a quadruple threat tonight in the house.
I love it.
So we're following up on this story. We reported, I think it was, gosh, now 5 weeks ago, where you were at the polls. I'm going to let you tell the story, but I'm going to wrap it up really quickly. You were at the poll. You were, out there politicking, what we call it, electioneering, right, for your favorite candidate who happened to be conservative, etc. And there was a woman who was also a candidate on the Democrat side, your opposite side, and she said that you made googly eyes at her, basically. She didn't like it. She felt threatened. She went to a judge, or a magistrate, rather. She wrote out a complaint. The magistrate said, get out of here. We're going to bring it in front of a judge and then meet you in court. And then, you felt, and I agree with you, that this was done for a political dirty trick. She ended up dropping the case. Unfortunately, she won. That woman is Diamond Statton-Williams now. Unfortunately, she won, not by a lot, and dropped the case. But we're going to break it all down. We want to hear what happened, what you did. We are celebrating you, as we said several weeks ago. We are going to stand with all of our activists who, well, had these political dirty tricks pulled on them and had the justice system weaponized against them to silence them. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you. Yeah, sadly, she's my representative in North Carolina now. So I actually feel like I have no representation. This woman put a no contact order, tried to. She didn't get it granted. She didn't get the temporary order granted, but she tried to put a no contact order on me, a homeschool mom, a stay at home wife who volunteers on political campaigns. But so sadly, I have no representation. It was personal. I know it was personal because I was on the campaign for Maurice Price for town council for Harrisburg, a year almost to the date that she did this. And he was her direct opponent, I would say. He won most votes. So he is now our mayor pro tem. She did end up winning third place. So she is still on the Harrisburg Town Council until she goes to Raleigh in January. The thing she mentioned in the case, besides staring, which it is totally legal. I don't think I was staring at her. I don't really need to stare at her, but it's totally legal to stare. And the other thing, it was just ironic because she mentioned things that were from a year ago. And I walked back through it. When you have a deputy, I'm going to segue for a second. When you have a deputy knock on your door as a good citizen and your children are on the couch and your husband's like, what is going on? And you're served with papers for the very first time in your life, it knocks you down. I was raised by a deputy who's still a deputy in Florida, where I'm from. My brother's a deputy. I had just gone on a ride along with Cabarrus County Sheriff's Department. I'm a certified handgun instructor with the DOJ, with the North Carolina DOJ. So I got my first speeding ticket at 35 years old. I have no record. I mean, I am a good citizen. So to have that sort of thing happen to you as a person who really pours into my community, I've done fundraisers in my community. I mean, I've done it all. I was a teacher for 10 years. Like, who does that to their own constituent?
So let
And
me,
not, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
So, I mean, this is what typically the left, but it can be the right. This is what political dirty tricksters count on. What they count on is having folks like you and me and others, quite frankly. I mean, this has happened to, we're not alone here. This has happened to a close activist of ours in Columbus County. This has happened to a blogger who really isn't political at all, a friend of ours in Onslow County, about 3 or 4 times. Politicians have done this to him to shut him up. This has happened to folks in Wake County, quite frankly. So this is a typical, unfortunately, all too familiar dirty trick that's being done just to shut people down. And again, it's weaponizing the judicial system. Guys, they count on folks saying, hey, you know what? Do I really want to hassle with making my voice heard? I mean, look, the business I'm in is the business I'm in is exposing wrongdoing. And you bet your bottom dollar that a hell of a lot of people do not want their business aired out there, right? But it's the right of the people to know. And it's my vocation. It's my calling. I take it very seriously. You have a longstanding history of advocating for the, how do I say this, for the candidates that you feel best would represent you. And as a homeschool mom, there's a lot you have to figure into that, right? You're not responsible for just you. It's you and your family.
So, right. And I'm not gonna stop speaking out. Like I'm a Christian, so I'm going to continue to use the, verse of I'm going to speak the truth in love. I'm going to speak the truth though. I've never said a curse word to this woman. I've never said anything that's, indecent, anything like that. In fact, the funny thing is she came to where I was 3 out of the 4 times she put on the pleading. So I kind of felt stalked, to be honest. Like she came to where I was. I don't, I'm not going to defend myself because there's nothing to defend. It was horrible what she did to me.
Right. I mean, so when you say that she came to you, what you mean is guys, if you, and I know everybody watching has voted. I know you have, right? You know that when you're walking up to the poll, right, there are folks on one side, usually one side of the aisle and the other, and they have to be a certain amount of distance away from the poll. And so you were on one side. Diamond was on the other side, right? So,
well, I actually walked back from her opponent, Brian Echeverria, who's a good friend of mine. I was walking back from him back to the spot I had already been in for about 2 hours or more before she came, because I was there almost all day at the polling site, volunteering my time. But that was the 4th time I'd ever been in the vicinity of her. And again, she came to where I was at the polling place. I mean, granted, I guess she had to go vote or whatever she was doing. She doesn't really campaign, so I'm not sure exactly how she won there either. But we're talking a year ago. She had her pleading was stating things that happened a year ago, and nothing happened. I mean, she came to an event that another woman and I had put together for the town council candidates, and we kind of graciously extended it to all the candidates. I mean, she came to where I was. So it's honestly
set up. I mean, it's plainly evident. So she wanted you to shut up. You weren't going to shut up. And that's kind of what happened. Look, I want to make it very clear. I think this goes without saying, but I've personally seen instances where it's way out of bounds. I mean, just raucous behavior that doesn't belong, quite frankly, at a poll. I've seen it at school board meetings where it doesn't belong. I've seen it at county commissioner meetings. I've seen, uncivil way uncivil behavior that we're not condoning at all whatsoever. Look, if you're going to get within inches of someone's face and you're going to scream threats, I've seen it happen. That's the kind of behavior that these protective orders are meant for. Right. If you're going to repeatedly do things and follow people, right, and put yourself in their physical presence, we've seen that happen. That ain't this, Chelsea.
Right. Well, and sadly, she lied twice on the pleading. I mean, there are two blatant lies regarding how close I was with her. One time she said I was within 5 feet yelling at her. I never yelled at her. I know that for sure. We have witnesses on that. And I certainly wasn't within 5 feet, maybe 10 feet. But again, that's my right to stand where I'm standing to do what I'm doing for my candidate.
Look, political speech and religious speech, those two forms of speech are the most protected in America. There's lots of case law at the Supreme Court level that, I mean, this is enshrined. I mean, political speech, for goodness sakes, that is something that's, enshrined in our very DNA here in the United States. And in fact, it's what makes us so unique. So guys, I
Right. And
want
we,
to understand.
yeah. And when we have a candidate in my town, right, who is against medical freedom, I spoke with her about this the very, very first time I met her. Are you for vaccine mandates? Absolutely. I'm a nurse. I'm for vaccine mandates. Okay, well, that we disagree on that, and we didn't fight about it, but we certainly disagreed. She's pro-abortion, completely pro-abortion. I'm not. Her money, when we were running the town council race, and I looked at her finances, any leftover money from her campaign went to Planned Parenthood. So she's clearly pro-abortion. She helped in a BLM rally that they tried to do through Harrisburg, where high school students were involved. We just had a vote for a 6-cent increase in taxes in Harrisburg to beef up our Cabarrus County Sheriff's Department, because we are growing at an exponential rate in Harrisburg. We have to stay ahead of the crime. That kind of tends to go our way since we're on the border of Charlotte. She voted against that. So, that whole, she was endorsed by the Black Political Progressive Caucus. And if you read any of their stuff, it is unfortunately defund the police, all those things that I don't want in my town. And I will continue to speak out about it. If it's about her politics, personally, I don't care about her, except for I have to pray for her, because that's what the Lord tells me to do for an enemy. And I'm sorry, but when you attack an innocent person and you hurt my family, you're kind of an enemy. But instead of doing anything in retaliation, I'm not, I have to pray for her. And that's what I've been doing.
Well, I mean, look, you have been put out, your legal expenses, you incurred legal expenses. We're going to help you with some of that. Absolutely. And we're going to stand behind conservative activists who are doing the right thing and speaking up. You speak on your religious convictions. Again, we strongly support religious freedom. We don't,
Right.
I mean, you're part of your mission as a Christian is to exercise your right to select the right candidates and to tell other people about those candidates. Look, we supported Brian Echevarria, strongly
Right.
supported, very strongly, and still do. And we looked at Diamond's voting record and her record, frankly, her record of conduct towards the other folks that she's on the town council with. We looked at her conduct with her constituents. We also looked at her voting record and who she was backed by. Look, the woman is backed by Equality NC. By the way, I want everyone to know that our work is not done. We are just getting started, because we have Diamond, along with others who are supported by Equality NC. Now, their name is a misnomer. They're not for equality. They're for ramming their way down everyone else's throat. It's their way or the highway. They're pushing this trans movement, which, by the way, we've been very upfront with. It seeks to eradicate gay people, and it seeks to rob women of their rights. And frankly, sexuality, our thesis is, has no business in school. So she's still on our radar, Chelsea, and you're still going to continue to speak truth to power, correct?
Absolutely. As long as, I know for sure that I am not trying to lie about anybody. I'm not trying to slander anybody. But if your policies and your politics go against our US Constitution and they lean towards socialism, which is not American, which is not our Constitution, they lean towards Marxism and they lean towards really communism at the end of the day, I can't allow that. I have 2 boys who are going to have to make their way in this world, and probably in North Carolina. I can't allow that.
Well, I was born and raised in North Carolina and born and raised in Charlotte, actually. So it pains me to see what Charlotte has become. Now, when we look at Charlotte and the school board races, I think there are a couple of candidates who show promise, at least dealing with some of the problems with violence in school. Now, you were campaigning for Sean Turner, who we also backed. He's an excellent candidate, we thought, for school board. Unfortunately, he was defeated, but you're still going to be opposing a lot of these policies, because now Cabarrus has 2 far left Democrat people that were put on because of all of the infighting going on inside of the Republican Party. It's insane. So, school safety, definitely is going to be something that we're on. As is, viewpoint discrimination and discriminating against people based on religion. You've heard of the lawsuit the other day that came out where a conservative teacher is suing the DPI because viewpoint discrimination against conservatives. So we're still going to be fighting for the rights of every teacher, of every parent, every family, really.
And Sean was going to be that candidate who parents' rights was his number one platform. He's, 20-year Marine veteran, firearms instructor, all these things that he could have really brought the safety aspect to. Sadly, like you said, we had too many candidates on the GOP side. If we had whittled it down and been smart and worked together to get true conservatives, not the ones that the GOP wanted to put on, but true conservatives, we would have absolutely won, and we wouldn't have two extremely left candidates on there. Well, now appointees on there. It's rough. It's sad to see. I mean, I homeschool, so I'm not impacted, but
it's not rough. We've got this. I mean, look, we have to work hard. We have to be on our game all the time, right? And
but
so
the difference is we don't treat them the way they treat us. And I get upset about it because we don't, we're conservatives aren't walking around. I'm too busy, and I'm too involved in other things. We're not walking around trying to purposely hurt other people, right? And so we are giving our time, our energy, our efforts into getting good people elected, into campaigning, but the goal is not to like actually walk around and hurt people. I don't know. It's very frustrating.
Don't let it frustrate you guys, because I want you to know this. We treat people with dignity and respect for us. We do it because it's our moral code. That's why we do it. We don't do it so that others will do unto us. I mean, let's always remember that when we get upset about the injustices. I mean, look, life isn't fair. And when you get into politics, nothing is fair, right? It's part of the job. A vocational hazard of activism is.
But the difference is, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. Well,
the difference is though, is that when we speak the truth, they twist it and say we're being mean, unkind, talking bad about them, whatever it is. And it's like, wait a second, but that's just speaking the truth. So we had the candidate who had been a lifelong Democrat. I would tell voters, she just spoke with you. She's a lifelong Democrat, but they put her, on for the school board. She got so upset with me. And it's like, I'm speaking the truth.
Got upset with me too.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, but that is the truth. How is that? How are you taking that so personally and getting so upset with me when we're just telling voters the truth? I don't understand it. So,
well, I mean, look, this is, again, I hate to tell people this, but it is politics. This is the way it works. And you have to be ready for anything that comes, right? There's a lot of political dirty tricks in Cabarrus County, especially. I mean, we campaigned all over the state, really. And Cabarrus County, there are a lot of the same people doing the same dirty tricks. And I just have to wonder, are they getting this advice from each other? It's awfully interesting how if you're advocating for Brian Echevarria, you wind up with these sort of problems. Very interesting to me. Right. Not something that we're going to stand for. And we are going to be supporting all of the activists who come forward, who are fighting the good fight, and standing up for conservative values. We have to keep standing. It's going to be a tough couple of years, a fun couple of years, Chelsea. Right?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it does at first when it happens, you do want to back out. You're like, this isn't worth it. It's not worth my family being affected. It's not worth my emotional, state. But, especially after talking to you and you're like, you're going to be stronger after you go through this, and it honestly made me a better person going through this in a way, because now it's like, I know even better how to deal with these people who will lie. They'll just lie. Oh, yeah. And who will come after you for things that are not, they're totally against the Constitution. It's totally against our rights.
It doesn't matter. When you're effective, you are a threat. And when you are a threat, people want to play dirty tricks, and that's all this is. So I'm glad that
Right.
you're recognizing this for what it is. And I have to say that I'm very glad that Diamond backed out of this cockamamie attempt to shut you up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody said she would, and because she didn't have a case. So, but I am glad it's over. You know, I just have to move on and see where God takes me next.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know he's going to take you with us because, again, we have a lot of work to do, especially in Cabarrus County. Cabarrus County it was a heartbreaker for our pack. I mean, we lost ground in Cabarrus where we gained it all over the state. So,
I know. And
yeah,
that's a problem that needs to be fixed on the GOP side, but we'll see what
leadership,
happens.
leadership, leadership. We have
Yep.
to have strong leadership, right?
Right. I think we have some good people that wanna hopefully run, so we'll see what happens.
Very good. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And I will put that out for Republicans that would like to get involved and see leadership that is good in the Republican Party, that is conservative. You just have to find out, and I don't know the dates, or I would say it, but you have to become a delegate first. And so that meeting is somewhere in the end of February. If you can go on the GOP website and find out, but you have to become a delegate to be able to vote at the convention for the local Cabarrus County GOP. And that gives you the right to vote. So get involved. You have to get involved, or you can't complain.
yeah,
You
well, it
know,
won't stop people from complaining, you know that.
true.
But anyway, hopefully we'll get some good candidates out there and we're back at it. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, this is our last show before Christmas. So have a very Merry Christmas. It's still the season of Hanukkah. So if you're celebrating like I am, Chag Sameach, have a wonderful holiday, and we will see you guys again after Christmas. All right. Bye, Chelsea. Thank you.